it's Charlie from A Bunch of Malarkey. I haven't done one of these videos in a long time, so I figured I would come on tonight because we have a milestone episode of A Bunch of Malarkey coming your way tomorrow, our 100th episode, if you can believe that. When I started the podcast back in August of 2018, I thought it would be something where, I told a few stories. After a dozen episodes, I'm like, screw this shit, I'm not doing it anymore. But it kind of grew, and people started listening, much to my amazement. I was like, my wife always tells me, who wants to hear your stories? That's because she's heard them all 100 times. So this opened up a brand new audience for me to share all my stories. I'm a storyteller. I like to tell stories from the past, stories from jobs, schools, all kinds of shit. So this was a great platform for me to do this. And 100 episodes, almost 900,000 downloads later, and 15 months later, A Bunch of Malarkey continues. Now, there are going to be some changes to the show. I am making an announcement on tomorrow's show, so be sure to tune into that. I'm not going to give it away here on the video. But I'm coming on tonight because I've gotten a lot of emails and social media feedback about what people's favorite episode of A Bunch of Malarkey was. 100 to choose from. Well, 99. Tomorrow's isn't out yet. I've told stories from school, from work, from job, all kinds of stories, and people have their favorites. Now, one of everybody's favorite was our third episode, which aired back in, I believe, the end of August of 2018. It was called Flashbacks. Now, this story talks about my elementary school. I'm not going to name the name of the school or the town. You get fucking sued nowadays. You got to watch everything you say. So all I'm going to say, it was a quaint little town nestled next to the Great South Bay on Long Island in New York. You figure it out. But anyway, the back of our school, there were fields, just like any school, playground, field, whatever the fuck you call it. And it bordered a chain link fence. Now, on the other side of that chain link fence was a small patch of woods, maybe 10 feet deep, which led out onto a causeway. And that causeway, if you kept going, took you over the Great South Bay and to the Atlantic Ocean. So a very small patch of woods behind the school. Now, if you're familiar, if you live up north, a lot of my listeners, they live all over the country, the south, wherever. If you live up north, or you're from up north, you know that the winters can be tough. So during the winter months, we were kept inside for recess. We would be put in the gym or wherever the hell they wanted to put us, they stuck us. But when that first warm day came, usually in March, maybe April, depending on the year, they would open those doors and let us out into the vast fields of the school playground. And we would just run like hell, kickball, dodgeball, knocking the shit out of each other. It was a great time. Now, I went to this school from the fall of '76 when I started kindergarten to June of '83 when I finished 6th grade and was headed to junior high school. They called it junior high back then. It was none of this middle school shit. And it was 7 through 9, none of this 6 through 8 shit. But anyway, I digress. So when this first warm day would happen, they would let us out to the fields. And within the first couple of days or so of this springtime freedom, all hell and chaos would break loose out on this playground. Kids would start screaming and running. The teacher aides would start blowing those whistles, which did jack shit. We never paid attention to them. But anyway, chaos ensued. And the teacher's aides would round us all up and usher us inside. Then we'd see a swarm of police cars drive onto the field, like a whole fucking SWAT team. And we would wonder what the hell happened. What happened was, every year, within the first couple of days, kids would claim, this went on every year, and way before I started at the school, kids would claim that they were playing along the fence line, and they peered into the woods, and in those woods was a man in a trench coat who opened the trench coat and exposed his peen, his genitals, his penis, whatever you want to call it, to the kids. Now, some kids saw it, some kids didn't. But everybody started screaming and running in. Now, if this happened today in 2020, counselors would be brought in, notices home to the school, emails, probably council meetings. It would be a whole shit show. Back in the 70s and 80s, nobody cared. We were Generation X. We soldiered through. You saw a man's peen on the field, back to school. Now, they did, however, one year, they did console us. They didn't bring in the school nurse or the counselor to ask what we saw. We weren't questioned by police. We were brought Italian ices from the cafeteria. That was our, in case you saw the man's penis, therapy for us. Now we got to choose grape, lemon, cherry, watermelon. I think those were the 4 choices. And they were the squeeze ices. They weren't even the good, cup ices. But those squeeze ices weren't bad. Again, I digress. But anyway, that was our therapy back in the 70s and 80s when you saw a man's penis in the woods as an 8-year-old. It wasn't like, honey, what did you see? Tell the policeman. It was, you want watermelon or grape, back to your work, and then you went home. Now, if you were like me, you let yourself in. Brothers and sisters, my parents worked. We let ourselves in, did our homework. And your parents would come home, and they would be curious about your day. And you'd be busy doing your homework, playing Atari, whatever the fuck you were doing when they got home. And your mom would say, how was your day? Oh, it was good, Mom. Never even thought to mention that there was a penis in the woods. It just wasn't something that came to mind. Until you sat down for dinner and you said, Mom, what's for dinner? And she says, sausage. And then that kind of triggered something. Sausage, penis. Oh, by the way, Mom, a man showed his penis in the woods to some kids today, a trench coat, the whole deal. But we got in and they gave us an Italian ice. Italian ice? What time was this? Yeah, about 12:30. I don't remember what time it was. They gave you an Italian ice before dinner. What the hell is wrong with that school giving you all that sugar? Not like, what's wrong with that school? They didn't tell us about the flasher. She was more worried about us having sugar in the middle of the afternoon before dinner. So this is how the 70s and 80s worked. It wasn't the shit that went on now. There would be a task force of counselors right now if your 8-year-old daughter or son saw a naked man in a raincoat in the middle of the woods on a warm spring day. Now, the funny part about this whole thing is that I was at a barbecue in 2007. It was the first year I met my wife. We had just started dating, and we went to a barbecue, and I just happened to run into someone who was a parent whose kids were currently going to that elementary school. And we got to joking about the flasher. And this woman started laughing, and she said, the flasher still comes. I said, what do you mean the flasher still comes? That was like 82. It's 2007. That was 25 years ago. She says the flasher still comes. They all run off the field. Now, one of 2 things is happening. Either this is like the best fucking urban legend in the history of mankind, because this shit was going on before me. So this is like a 50, 60-year-old urban legend. Or this flasher probably retired and died, passed the raincoat down to the son. Now the grandson has it. It's like a generational, pass it down through the generation raincoat type of thing. One of 2 things has happened. And now the thing that makes, automatically you steer towards urban legend, right? It's been going on so long. But how would an 8-year-old kid come up with the idea that a man exposed himself in the woods? 8, 9-year-old. Even if they had older brother or sister, not everybody's going to have the balls to be the one to cause this chaos on the field. So I don't know what to think. So let me know what you think. That's one of our most loved episodes, the Flasher Flashbacks, which aired back in August of 18. But this is what A Bunch of Malarkey is all about. Telling stories about total bullshit. Yeah, we cover some important topics. I've had some great interviews with Grammy Award nominating recording artists. I've done all kinds of stuff on the show. But the whole purpose of A Bunch of Malarkey is to talk about shit just like this. Stuff I observe in public. I call them mutants. People that are just fucking mutants that don't belong in society. We even have a Mutant of the Week poll for those of you who've never listened, where you, the listeners, get to vote for the Mutant of the Week. I put up 2 people and tell their story each week on the podcast, and then you vote for who's the bigger fucking mutant. So our Mutant of the Week is one of our favorite segments of the show. Usually the show starts off with some bizarre news stories from around the country. We do our Mutant of the Week winner and our new nominees, and then we segue to our topic of the week. So if you've never listened, give it a shot. We have 99 episodes up, a new one coming tomorrow. And, we're going to make an announcement tomorrow. The show is going to change a little bit, but I think you're going to enjoy it just as much. Now, speaking of malarkey, what goes with malarkey? Shenanigans. Now, for those of you who don't know, 2 years ago I wrote my first book. And it's a collection of stories, 50 short stories, or more than 50, I think 52, something like that. Who's counting? Where I chronicled each day that I worked at the courthouses here in the Atlanta metro area from 2016 to 2018. I would come across the craziest motherfuckers you ever could imagine. And each day, I would come home and tell these stories and start writing them down. And I compiled all these short stories, and then I turned it into a book called A Whole Lot, meaning parking lot, of the courthouse, shenanigans. And Christmas is coming, Hanukkah's coming. You're not going to be able to go to the store unless you mask up and you're going to get corona. So you're going to do your shopping from home. It's going to be whole fucking different this year, so brace yourself. You want to give the gift of laughter. Maybe you're like, I'm not going to read this asshole's book. I don't even know why he's telling me about it. But maybe somebody you know would like the book. So go to Amazon, type in a whole lot of shenanigans in my name, Charlie McMahon, and pick up the book. Give the gift of laughter this holiday season. Not too early to start thinking about the holidays, believe it or not. So a whole lot of shenanigans. Over 50 stories, real, true, hilarious stories from my experiences working at the courts in the Atlanta metro area. So you have Malarkey with the podcast, and you have shenanigans with the book. So thank you all so much. 100 episodes, heading towards 900,000 downloads. I thought like 3 people were going to listen to this shit, but apparently you like it. 15 months. I'm sorry, not 15 months. 25 months. 2 years and a month. My fucking arithmetic in this pandemic is not too good. But I feel like I've been locked in. I feel like I've been in a cave since March. I feel like it's March. Now it's October in a couple of days. I don't know what the hell's going on. But anyway, thanks to all of you for listening to the show. And I know many of you who are my Facebook friends actually have appeared on the show. You know who you are. So thank you very much. Some high school friends have appeared on the show. People I'm friends with here in the Atlanta metro area. My brother and sister. We've had a whole bunch of people. Neighbors. It's a cross-section. Again, Grammy Award or Grammy nominated. I don't want to say he won the fucking award. Grammy nominated recording artist. We've run the gamut here at A Bunch of Malarkey. So thank you all for 2 years, almost 900,000 downloads, and 99 plus 1 coming tomorrow episodes. We're found on all major podcast platforms. And there's a lot of shit, a lot of material in these podcasts, and a lot more to come. So thank you all very much, and I'll catch you soon. Please feel free to comment. Let me know what you think about the Flasher story.